contract. Okay,
Yes.
let's start with our revision. Okay,
Yep.
first question. Oh,
Mhm.
here we go. First one's a long one. So, what's the difference between still and yet? What's the difference between still and yet? The
The
difference
difference
between still
between
and
still
yet
and
is
yet
that
is
we use
that
still
we use
for
still
something that
for
is in
something that
progress
is
at
in
the moment,
progress at the
whereas
moment.
we
There,
use yet
whereas we use
for
yet
something
for
that has not
something
begun
that has
or
not
happened.
begun or
We
happened.
generally use still
We
in
generally use
positive
still in
sentences,
positive sentences,
whereas we generally
whereas we
use yet
generally
in
use yet
questions
in
and negative
questions and
sentences.
negative sentences.
Give me some examples. Give me some examples, please. It's still
It's still
autumn. It
autumn.
isn't
It
winter yet.
isn't winter yet.
Has the lesson finished yet? Has the lesson finished yet? No, the
No,
lesson
the
hasn't
lesson
finished
hasn't
yet.
finished
It's still
yet.
in
It's
progress.
still in
Have
progress.
we finished speaking yet? Have we finished speaking yet? No, we
No,
haven't
we
finished
haven't
speaking yet.
finished
We're
speaking
still
yet.
speaking.
We're still speaking.
Very good. Have they gone home yet? Have they gone home yet? No,
No,
they haven't
they
gone home
haven't
yet.
gone home
They're
yet.
still here.
They are still here.
Very good. Has the winter begun? Has the winter begun? No, the
No,
winter hasn't
the
begun.
winter hasn't
It's
begun
still
yet. It's still
autumn.
autumn.
Very good. Will I still be in this country in 2 weeks' time? Will I still be in this country in 2 weeks' time? Yes, you'll
Yes,
still be
you will
in that
still
country
be in that
in 2 weeks'
country
time.
in 2 weeks' time.
That's correct. I don't have a passport. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Are the bottoms of your shoes clean? Are the bottoms of your shoes clean? No. The
No,
bottoms
the
of my
bottoms
shoes
of my shoes
aren't clean.
aren't
They're
clean.
dirty.
They are dirty.
When our shoes are dirty, what should we do? When our shoes are dirty, what should we do? When our shoes
When
are
our
dirty,
shoes are
we should
dirty,
clean them.
we should clean them.
Which do you think is the cleanest city you know of? Which do you think is the cleanest city you know of? I think
I think Kyoto is
is the city
the
I know
cleanest
of.
city I know of.
And which do you think is the dirtiest? Which do you think is the dirtiest? I think
I think Tokyo is
is
the
the dirtiest
dirtiest,
city I know
dirty.
of, but still clean compared to the Philippines. Okay.
Really?
Which do you think is less unpleasant, the dirt of the city or the dirt of the country, of the farm, etc.? Which do you think is less unpleasant, the dirt of a city, the dirt of the country, of the farm, etc.? I think the
I
dirt of
think
the
the dirt of the country
is
is
less unpleasant
less
than the
unpleasant
dirt of the city,
than the dirt of the
of the
city,
farm,
of the
etc.
farm, etc.
Very good. Do you remember if you're afraid of the dark when you were a little child? Do you remember if you're afraid of the dark when you were a little child? Yes or no?
Yes,
I remember
I
I was afraid
remember
of the
I
dark
was afraid
when I
of
was a little
dark
child.
when I was a little child.
Would you be afraid to go round the world in a small open boat? Would you be afraid to go round the world in a small open boat? Yes or no?
Yes,
I would be
I
afraid
would be
to go
afraid
round the
to
world
go around
in a
the
small
world
open
in a
boat.
small open boat.
Do people
I hate
shake?
winter.
Uh, uh, do, do people shake when they feel very afraid? Do people shake when they feel very afraid? Yes,
Yes,
people shake when
people
they
shake
feel
when
very
they
afraid.
feel very afraid.
Very good. Okay, what's the best way to guard against becoming ill? What's the best way to guard against becoming ill? The best way to
The
guard
way to
against
guard
becoming ill
against becoming
is to
ill
eat healthy
is
food,
eat
is to
healthy food,
sleep well, and
live
do
well,
exercise.
and do exercise.
Must we be on our guard when we buy something from a man selling things in the street? Must we be on our guard when we buy something from a man selling things in the street? Yes, we
Yes,
must be
we
on
must
our
be on
guard
our
when we
guard
buy
when
something
we buy
from a man
something from a
selling
man
things in the
selling
street.
things in the street.
Why? Why? Because maybe
Because
we won't
maybe
be
we
able to
won't be
find him
able
again
to find him
if there's
again
a
if
problem
there's
with the
a
thing
problem
we've
with the
bought.
thing
We've
bought,
bought. Very good.
we've bought.
What's the opposite of on your guard? What's the opposite of on your guard? The
The
opposite of on your
opposite
guard
of on
is
your
off
guard
your
is
guard.
off your guard.
What's the best way to calm somebody down when he's very angry? What's the best way to guard somebody? What's the best way to calm somebody down when he's very angry? The best way to
The best
calm
way to
somebody
calm
down when
somebody
he's
down
very
when
angry
he is very
is to
angry
speak
is
quietly
to speak
and
quietly
pleasantly
and
to him.
friendly to him.
Are we having calm weather at the moment? Are we having calm weather at the moment? Yes or no?
Yes,
We're having we're
we
having
are having
calm weather at the
calm
moment.
weather at the moment.
Very good. What are the two ways of forming the second conditional with the verb to be? What are the two ways of forming the second conditional with the verb to be? Two
The
ways of
two
forming
ways of
the
forming
second
the
conditional
second
with the verb to
conditional with
be
the verb to
are
be
if I was
are if I
and if
was
I
and
were.
if I were.
If you were a millionaire, where would you live? If you were a millionaire, where would you live? If I were a
I
millionaire,
were a
I would live
millionaire,
in
I would live in the valley.
Valley. Why? Why?
Yeah, because they have very good food.
Ah, very good. And nice tropical weather, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Very good. If I were you, which language would I speak? If I were you, which language would I speak? If you were
If
me,
you were
you would
me,
speak.
you would speak Japanese.
Very good. If there wasn't a light in this room, would we be able to see well when it got dark? If there wasn't a light in this room, would we be able to see well when it got dark? No. If there
No,
wasn't
if
a light
there
in this
wasn't a
room,
light in this
we
room,
wouldn't be able to
we
see
wouldn't be
well
able to see
when it
well
got dark.
when it got
We would
dark.
see
We
badly.
would see badly.
If there weren't any food in the world, would we all die? If there weren't any food in the world, would we all die? Yes. If
Yes,
there weren't
there
any
if there
food,
were
if
if
there
there
weren't
weren't
any food in the
any
world,
food in the
we
world,
would all die.
we would all die.
But if you weren't you, who would you like to be? If you weren't you, who would you like to be? If I
If
weren't
I
me,
weren't me,
I would like
I
to
would
be.
I would like to be Lady Gaga
Why? Why?
because she is a very great singer.
Great singer, popular also. Very good. Next.
Yeah, yeah.
Can we use the expression if I were you to give advice to somebody? Can we use the expression if I were you to give advice to somebody? Yes, we can
Yes,
use the
we can
expression
use the
if I were
expression
you
if I
to
were
give
you
advice
to
to
give
somebody.
advice to somebody.
Give me an example. Give me an example, please. If I were you,
If I were
I would
you,
eat more
I would
vegetables,
eat more vegetables,
or I wouldn't
or
buy that
I
car.
wouldn't buy
If
that
I were
car
you,
if I were you.
what's the biggest problem in your life at the moment? What's the biggest problem in your life at the moment? The biggest problem
The
in
biggest
my life
problem in
at
my
the
life
moment
at the
is,
moment is gaining weight.
oh, it's easy.
Hmm?
Ask me. Okay. Give me some advice. Give me some advice, please. If I were
If
you,
I were
I would.
you, I would do exercise.
Very good. What's another opposite of the verb lose besides find? What's another opposite of the verb lose besides find? Another opposite of
Another
the verb
opposite of
lose
the verb
besides find
lose besides
is win.
find is win.
What are the three forms of win? What are the three forms of win? The three forms
The
of
three
win
forms of
are
win
win
is
1-1.
are win 1-1.
Does your country usually win at football? Does your country usually win at football? Yes or no?
Yes,
My
my
country
country
usually wins
usually
at
wins
football.
at football.
Do you do the lottery? Do you do the lottery? Yes or no?
Yes,
I
I do the lottery.
have you ever won? Have you ever won? Yes or no?
Yes,
I
I
have won.
have won
Yeah, I have
a
won or
little.
I've won. Very good. Like consolation prizes. Very
Mhm.
good. Me too. If you won £1 million, what would you do with it? If you won £1 million, what would you do with it? If I won
If
a
I
million
won a
pounds,
million
I would.
pounds, I would make my nursing home.
Oh, maybe your own nursing home. Very
Yeah,
good.
I
Okay, next. Is this pen useless? Is this pen useless? No, that
no,
pen isn't
that pen
useless.
isn't
It's
useless.
useful.
It's useful.
What do we do with useless things? What do we do with useless things? We throw useless
We
things
throw
away.
useless things away.
What are the two most useful things you possess? What are the two most useful things you possess? The two most
The two
useful
most
things I
useful
possess
things I
are.
possess are my phone and my iPad.
Very good. Do you think that what you're learning now will be useful to you later on in life? Do you think that what you're learning now will be useful to you later on in life? Yes, I think
Yes,
that
I
what
think
I'm
that
learning
what
now
I'm learning
will be
now
useful to
will
me
be useful
later
to
on in
me
life.
later on in life
Why? Why do you think so? Because it will help
because
me.
It
get
will
work,
help me
and
get
speak
work
to people
and speak to
from
people
other
from
countries.
other countries.
Very good. Okay, what's the contraction of I would? What's the contraction of I would? The
The
contraction of I
contraction
would
of I
is
would
I'd.
is I
Is
I'd.
I'd. What are the contractions of you would, he would, and she would? What are the contractions of you would, he would, and she would? The
The
contractions of
contractions
you would,
of you would,
he would,
he
and
would,
she would
she would
are you'd,
are
it,
you'd,
and she'd.
he'd, and she'd.
Very good. If you went to the cinema this evening, which film would you see? If you went to the cinema this evening, which film would you see? If I went to
If
the
I
cinema
went to
this
the
evening,
cinema this
I'd
evening,
see
I'd see the Jaws
the jaws, like the shark. Very
joke.
good. If I were you, which language would I speak? If I were you, which language would I speak? If you were me,
If you
you'd
were me,
speak
you'd speak
Japanese.
Japanese.
If a plant had no water, would it die? If a plant had no water, would it die? Yes. If a
Yes,
plant
if a
had no
plant
water,
had no water,
it'd die.
it'd die.
Very good. And that's the end of our revision. Let's have new word. Very good.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start. So let's talk about construction of the word would
Mm-mm-mm.
with other
Mm.
words.
Okay.
Okay, listen, we can contract or combine the word would with almost any word. For example, the word book would becomes booked, who would becomes hood. Let's practice. What's the contraction of book would? What's the contraction of book would? The
The
contraction of
contraction
book would
of book
is
would
booked.
is booked.
What's the contraction of lesson would? What's the contraction of lesson would? The
The
contraction of
contraction
lesson would
of lesson would
is
is
lesson.
lessened.
What's the contraction of who would? What's the contraction of who would? The
The
contraction of who
contraction
would
of food
is hood.
is food.
What's the contraction of what would? What's the contraction of what would? The contraction of what
Contraction
would
of what would
is
is
whatted.
whatted.
What's the contraction of which would? What's the contraction of which would? The
The
contraction of
contraction
which would
of which
is
would
which.
is widget.
Right? If you lost your way in a large city, who do you ask? If you lost your way in a large city, who do you ask? If I lost my
If I
way
lost
in
my
a large
way
city,
in a large
I'd
city,
ask a policeman.
I'd ask a policeman.
If today were Sunday, what did tomorrow be? If today were Sunday, what did tomorrow be? If today
If
were Sunday,
today were Sunday,
tomorrow'd be
tomorrow would be
Monday.
Monday.
Very good. Next, repeat sandwich.
Sandwich,
Cheese.
cheese.
Very good. Okay, listen. Cheese is a noun. It is a solid food made from milk, which is usually color yellow or white and can be soft or hard. Sandwich is a noun. So two pieces of bread with cheese, meat, cooked eggs, etc. between them is called a sandwich. For example, when office workers are too busy to leave their desk for lunch, they often have a quick sandwich. Let's practice. When office workers are too busy to leave their desk for lunch, do they often just have a quick sandwich? When office workers are too busy to leave their desk for lunch, do they often just have a quick sandwich? Yes. When
Yes,
office
when
workers
office
are too
workers
busy to
are
leave
too
their
busy to
desk for
leave
lunch,
the desk for
they
lunch,
often just
they
have a quick
often
sandwich. They
they
often just
often
have
just have
a quick
a
sandwich.
quick sandwich.
Wait, what kind of things do we put in sandwiches? What kind of things do we put in sandwiches? We put meat,
We put
cheese,
meat,
egg,
cheese,
etc.
egg,
in
etc.
sandwiches.
in sandwiches.
Very good. Next, repeat. Fault,
Oh,
fault, faultless,
faultless,
faulty,
faulty,
fix.
fix.
Okay, all letter F. Okay, listen.
Okay.
Fault. The word fault is a noun. It is the synonym of mistake. Fault, mistake. For example, if a student makes a mistake in his pronunciation or grammar, it's usually his fault. But it could sometimes be the teacher's fault, teacher's mistake. Faultless is an adjective. It means without mistake or without faults, like perfect. For example, my pronunciation isn't usually faultless. I sometimes make mistakes. Faulty is an adjective. It means not working properly or not made correctly. For example, my computer is not working. It's faulty. The word fix is a verb. It means to correct or repair something. For example, if my computer is faulty, I know how to fix the fault. Let's practice. Oh, here we go. What's your biggest fault? What's your biggest fault? My biggest fault
My
is,
biggest fault is
well, I drink too much Coca-Cola or I drink too much
I
coffee.
drink too much alcohol.
Alcohol. Oh, we have the same
Yeah,
fault. Okay.
yeah.
If your computer was faulty, would you know how to fix the fault? If your computer was faulty, would you know how to fix the fault? Yes or no?
Yes,
If my
if
computer
my
was
computer
faulty,
was
I'd know
faulty,
how to
I
fix the fault.
I know how to fix the fault.
Very good. Are your dictations usually faultless? Are your dictations usually faultless? No. My
No, my
dictations aren't
dictations
usually faultless.
aren't usually
They usually
faultless.
contain
They
mistakes.
usually contain mistakes.
Wait, if a student makes a mistake in his dictation, is it usually his fault or the teacher's fault? If a student make a mistake in his dictation, is it usually his fault or the teacher's fault? If a student
If a
makes a
student
mistake in
make
his
a
dictation,
mistake in his
it's
dictation,
usually his fault,
it's usually
but
his
it
fault,
could
but
sometimes be
it could
the
sometimes
teacher's fault.
be the teacher's fault.
Very good. Next, repeat. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
Very good. So, okay and all right have the same meaning. Okay, so let's practice. What can we say instead of okay? What can we say instead of okay? Instead of okay,
Instead of
we can say
okay,
all
we
right.
can say all right.
Very good. Next, repeat. Compare.
Compare,
Comparison.
comparison.
Have something in common.
Have something in common.
Very good. Okay, listen. Compare. The word compare is a verb. It means to consider the difference between two or more things that are similar. For example, we can compare Michelangelo with Leonardo da Vinci because they are both painters. But we can't compare Michelangelo with Napoleon because they were two completely different kinds of people who did different things from each other. One is a painter, one is a explorer. Comparison. The word comparison is a noun. It is the act of comparing two or more people or things. Have something in common means to have something similar to each other. For example, if we want to make a comparison between two people or things, they must have something in common. Let's practice. Can we compare Michelangelo with Napoleon? Can we compare Michelangelo with Napoleon? No, we
No,
can't
we
compare
can't compare
Michelangelo with
Michelangelo
Napoleon.
with Napoleon
Why not? Why not? Because they were
because
two
they were
completely
two
different kinds of
completely
people
different kinds of
who did
people
different things,
who
who
did
did different things
different things of each other,
from each other.
from each other.
Right? What must two people or things have if we want to make a comparison between them? What must two people or things have if we want to make a comparison between them? If we want to
If
make
we want
a comparison, I'm
to
one more time.
if
If
we
we
want
want to make a
if we want
comparison
to make a
between
comparison
two people or
between two
things,
people
they
or
must have
things,
something
they
in
must
common.
have something in common.
Very good. Next, repeat. Ice.
Ice,
Cool.
cool.
Very good. Listen, ice is a noun. It is water that has frozen into solid state. For example, we put ice in beer, tea, or whiskey. Cool is a verb. It means to make something slightly colder. For example, we use ice for putting in drink to cool them. Let's practice. What do we use ice for? What do we use ice for? We use ice
We use
for putting
ice
in
for
drinks
putting
to
in
cool them,
drinks to
etc.
cool them, etc.
Very good. Next, repeat pour.
Pour,
Very good. Okay, listen. Pour is a verb. No, pour is a verb. It means to put some drinks in a cup or glass. For example, I'm pouring some water from a bottle into a glass. Okay, let's practice. What am I doing? What am I doing? You're pouring some
you're
water
pouring some
from a
water
bottle
from a
into a
bottle
glass.
into a glass.
Very good. Okay, next repeat. Unite.
Unite.
Very good. Okay, listen. Unite is a verb. It means to become one or to join together as a group. To become one or join together. For example, during World War II, countries were divided. Today, most countries are united. Okay, let's practice. Do you think that all the countries of the world will unite one day? Do you think that all the countries of the world will unite one day? Yes or no?
No,
I don't think
I don't
that all the
think
countries
that
of
all
the world
the countries of the
will
world
unite one day.
will united one day.
Will unite one day.
Will unite one day.
Very good. You use united when will be united like that.
Ah, yeah, I
Okay,
see.
so now let's move on to reading.
Okay.
Very good. So our reading is at stage 4, paragraph page 256. And our
Six.
last
Okay.
headword was different forms of have. Okay, please start at page 257. Second question. Which is the most common way?
Well, which is
257.
the most common way of asking a question with the verb have in the past? The most common way of asking a question with the verb have in the past is did you have? Did you have your book with you last lesson? Yes, I had my book with me last lesson. Did I